You walk into the showroom, fall in love with the chrome, and hand over 15 grand with a smile. 2 weeks later, your back hurts, your dashboard's dead, and you're Googling how to sell a bike no one wants. These 15 motorcycles look amazing, but riding them feels like dating your ex all over again. Expensive, painful, and full of regret. Let's kick things off with the so-called adventure bike that leaves you stranded more than it takes you places. At number 15, Moto Guzzi V85 TT. Adventure dreams, maintenance nightmares. The V85 TT looked like the perfect entry into adventure riding, featuring an 853 cubic centimeter V-twin engine producing 80 horsepower and 59 pound-feet of torque. Moto Guzzi marketed it as the ideal bike for riders wanting classic Italian character with modern adventure capability. But owners quickly discovered the harsh reality of Italian motorcycle ownership. Electrical gremlins plagued the bike from day one. Dashboard failures, sensor malfunctions, and intermittent starting problems become constant companions. One owner reported spending more on electrical repairs in 6 months than the bike's annual insurance cost. The dealer network remains sparse across most of the country, forcing owners to travel hundreds of miles for warranty work. Independent shops won't touch the bike due to complex electronics and parts availability issues. Simple maintenance becomes expensive adventures requiring specialized technicians. Resale values have crashed as word spread about reliability problems. Bikes purchased for nearly $12,000 now struggle to sell for $6,000 with low mileage. Forums overflow with frustrated owners trying to escape their Italian mistake. The riding position feels cramped for taller riders, while the suspension lacks sophistication for serious off-road work. The bike falls between markets, not refined enough for street riding, not capable enough for adventure touring. Moto Guzzi's romantic appeal can't overcome fundamental engineering and support problems that make ownership miserable. Italian romance never lasts. And the next bike? It's basically a $28,000 betrayal wrapped in chrome. At number 14, Norton Commando 961. Classic name, modern disaster, $28,000. Norton's return to motorcycle manufacturing promised to revive the legendary Commando name with modern engineering. The 961 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine produced 80 horsepower while paying tribute to Norton's racing heritage. At $28,000, it positioned itself as an exclusive modern classic. The reality became a nightmare that destroyed Norton's reputation completely. Engines seized without warning, gearboxes failed catastrophically, and electrical systems failed regularly. Quality control appeared non-existent, with bikes arriving from the factory already broken. Norton's financial collapse left hundreds of owners stranded with worthless motorcycles. The company took deposits, built bikes poorly, then disappeared, leaving customers with no recourse. Legal battles continue years later as buyers try recovering their losses. Even running examples became worthless overnight when parts support vanished. Routine maintenance turned impossible without factory backing, creating garage ornaments rather than rideable motorcycles. The few Norton Commandos that actually worked suffered from poor engineering throughout. Vibration levels exceeded acceptable standards, build quality felt amateur, and performance disappointed despite the premium price. Norton's collapse represents one of motorcycling's biggest scandals, leaving buyers with expensive paperweights and destroyed faith in heritage brands. The Commando 961 proves that famous names mean nothing without competent execution. You thought that was bad? Honda's about to show you how even the kings of reliability can screw up luxury. At number 13, Honda Goldwing Tour. Luxury becomes liability, $28,700. The Goldwing represents Honda's flagship touring motorcycle, featuring a massive 1,833 cubic centimeter flat 6 engine producing 125 horsepower and 125 pound-feet of torque. Advanced features include heated seats, navigation, premium audio, and automatic dual-clutch transmission. But the Goldwing's 838-pound weight creates constant stress for owners. Parking becomes a nightmare, especially on slopes or soft surfaces. Dropping the bike means expensive damage and potential injury from the massive weight. Maintenance costs shock new owners accustomed to regular Honda pricing. Oil changes require 6 quarts of expensive synthetic oil, while valve adjustments cost over $1,000. Tire replacement runs $800 due to specialized sizes and mounting requirements. The bike's complexity creates reliability problems Honda's simpler motorcycles avoid. Automatic transmission failures cost thousands to repair, while electronic issues require expensive dealer diagnostics. Independent shops avoid gold wings due to specialized tool requirements. Storage becomes problematic for most owners. The bike's size exceeds many garage capabilities, while transportation requires specialized trailers. Daily practicality suffers from the bike's enormous dimensions. Insurance costs reflect the bike's high value and expensive repair requirements. Theft concerns increase due to the bike's desirability and difficulty securing such a large machine. The Goldwing delivers incredible comfort and capability, but ownership burdens make many riders regret choosing such complexity over simpler alternatives. That wasn't a motorcycle. That was a hotel on wheels with PTSD. Now let's meet the Austrian street fighter that turns every commute into a burnout session, and not the fun kind. At number 12, KTM 1290, Super Duke R, Beast Mode, Breakdown Mode, 18,499 sign. KTM calls the Super Duke R the Beast for good reason. The 1,301 cubic centimeter V-twin engine produces 180 horsepower and 103 pound-feet of torque. The aggressive naked bike promises track-level performance with street versatility at a relatively affordable price. Owners quickly discover why the bike earned its nickname through more than just power. Reliability proves beastly in all the wrong ways, with frequent clutch failures, overheating problems, and electrical gremlins plaguing ownership experiences. The riding position punishes anyone attempting daily use. Aggressive ergonomics work on track but create torture during commuting or touring. The bike's track focus makes it impractical for real-world riding situations most owners actually encounter. Heat management fails completely in traffic, with the engine cooking riders' legs during urban use. Summer riding becomes unbearable as the bike radiates intense heat in all directions. City commuting turns into endurance tests rather than enjoyable experiences. Maintenance intervals arrive frequently and cost substantially. KTM's premium parts pricing and specialized service requirements create ongoing financial obligations that many owners didn't anticipate when purchasing. Resale values reflect the bike's reputation for problems and impracticality. Used examples sit on markets for months as buyers recognize the ownership challenges. Even significant price reductions fail to attract buyers familiar with the bike's issues. The Super Duke R delivers incredible performance when running properly, but reliability and practicality problems make most owners regret choosing power over dependability. Hot enough for you? Too bad. The next one cooks your thighs and your dreams, courtesy of Yamaha. At number 11, Yamaha FJR1300, Sport Touring Legend, Reliability Letdown, 17,999. The FJR1300 built a reputation as one of the finest sport touring motorcycles available, featuring a 1,298 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, producing 146 horsepower and 102 pound-feet of torque. Advanced features include electronic suspension, traction control, and comprehensive weather protection. But the FJR's complexity creates reliability problems that tarnish its touring reputation. Electrical issues plague the bike, particularly the expensive electronic suspension system that fails regularly and costs thousands to repair. Many owners simply disconnect the system rather than face repeated repair bills. Heat management becomes unbearable during summer riding. The engine generates intense heat that roasts riders' legs, making long-distance touring uncomfortable despite the bike's touring pretensions. Air conditioning doesn't exist for motorcycles, but FJR riders desperately wish it did. The bike's 644-pound weight creates handling problems in parking lots and tight spaces. Combined with the tall seat height, many riders struggle with low-speed maneuvering. Dropping the bike results in expensive damage to bodywork and mechanical components. Maintenance costs exceed expectations for a sport touring motorcycle. Valve adjustments require extensive disassembly, while the complex electronic systems demand expensive dealer diagnostics. Independent shops often refuse FJR work due to specialized requirements. Yamaha's reputation for reliability doesn't extend to the FJR's complex systems. Owners frequently report electrical problems, suspension failures, and cooling system issues that undermine confidence in the bike's touring capabilities. The FJR promises sport touring perfection, but delivers expensive complexity that many riders regret choosing over simpler alternatives. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell, or keep making expensive mistakes that empty your wallet and fill you with regret. At number 10, BMW S1000RR. Superbike performance, supercar costs, $17,195. The S1000RR represents BMW's flagship superbike, featuring a 999 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine producing 207 horsepower and 83 pound-feet of torque. Advanced electronics include cornering anti-lock braking system, lean-sensitive traction control, and multiple riding modes. Ownership costs shock buyers accustomed to Japanese superbike pricing. Oil changes cost $300 at dealerships, while routine maintenance intervals arrive frequently with premium German pricing throughout. Valve adjustments approach $2,000, making Honda CBR 1000RR ownership seem economical in comparison. Electronics complexity creates expensive failure points throughout the bike. Dashboard replacements cost $3,000, while sensor failures require expensive dealer diagnostics. Independent shops avoid the bike due to specialized BMW diagnostic equipment requirements. The riding position proves too aggressive for street use, creating punishment rather than pleasure during daily riding. Track-focused ergonomics work perfectly on circuits, but torture riders during commuting or touring applications. Insurance costs reflect the bike's performance capability and expensive repair requirements. Premiums often exceed payments on the motorcycle itself, especially for younger riders attracted to the bike's performance specifications. Resale values drop quickly as buyers recognize the ongoing ownership costs. Used S1000RRs flood the market as owners escape the financial burden of premium German superbike ownership. The S1000RR delivers incredible performance, but financial obligations that make ownership regrettable for anyone not exclusively track-focused. BMW engineering comes with BMW pricing throughout the ownership experience. Precision engineering, they said. Instagram-worthy, they said. Now meet the Ducati that does it all, except work properly. At number 9, Ducati Scrambler Icon. Instagram bike. Real-world problems. The Scrambler Icon promised accessible Ducati ownership with retro styling and modern reliability. The 803 cubic centimeter L-twin engine produces 73 horsepower and 49 pound-feet of torque, positioned as the perfect urban motorcycle for style-conscious riders. Scrambler's performance disappoints anyone expecting actual motorcycle capability. The 73 horsepower feels anemic compared to competitors, while the bike's 410-pound weight seems excessive for such modest power output. Highway riding becomes a struggle against both performance limitations and poor wind protection. Ducati's famous desmodromic valve system requires expensive maintenance every 7,500 miles, with inspections costing nearly $1,000. The affordable Ducati quickly becomes expensive when routine service costs more than many riders' monthly payments. Build quality issues plague the Scrambler despite Ducati's premium positioning. Owners report electrical problems, finish quality issues, and premature component wear. The bike feels cheap compared to Japanese competitors costing thousands less. The riding position prioritizes style over comfort, creating an uncomfortable experience during anything beyond short urban trips. The flat seat and upright position become torture devices during longer rides. Resale values have collapsed as buyers recognize the Scrambler's limitations and high ownership costs. Forums overflow with frustrated owners trying to sell bikes that promise Ducati experience but delivered Japanese competitor performance at Italian prices. This next one, on paper, it's perfect. In real life, it might be the most frustrating adventure you'll ever buy into. At number 8, Triumph Tiger 900, Adventure Bike Reliability Adventure. The Tiger 900 promised to challenge BMW's adventure bike dominance with a 888 cubic centimeter inline-3 engine, producing 95 horsepower and 64 pound-feet of torque. Triumph positioned it as the perfect balance between on-road comfort and off-road capability. Reliability problems emerged immediately after launch, with owners reporting frequent clutch failures, electrical issues, and cooling system problems. Warranty repairs became so common that some dealers ran out of replacement parts within months of the bike's introduction. The electronics package proves problematic throughout ownership. Ride mode switches fail regularly, while the TFT display suffers from moisture intrusion and complete failure. These electronic problems require expensive dealer repairs that independent shops cannot perform. Suspension components wear prematurely despite Triumph's adventure bike claims. Rear shock failures occur regularly, while front fork seal leaks become constant maintenance items. The bike's adventure pretensions don't match its component durability. Heat management fails during summer riding or traffic conditions. The engine generates excessive heat that roasts riders, making the bike nearly unusable in warm weather or urban environments. Adventure touring becomes miserable when temperatures rise. Parts availability remains poor outside major metropolitan areas, forcing owners to wait weeks for basic maintenance items. This creates extended downtime that undermines the bike's utility as an adventure touring machine. The Tiger 900 promises adventure, but delivers mechanical adventures that owners didn't request. Triumph's reliability reputation suffers significantly from this problematic model. Triumph's adventure failed, but now we're entering exotic territory, where beauty meets breakdown. At number 7, MV Agusta Brutale 1000, Exotic Beauty Ownership Beast. The Brutale 1000 represents Italian motorcycle artistry at its finest, featuring a 998 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, producing 208 horsepower and 87 pound-feet of torque. The bike's stunning design and exotic pedigree attract riders seeking something special beyond Japanese offerings. Ownership reality destroys the romantic notion quickly. Electrical problems plague every system, from dashboard failures to engine management glitches that leave riders stranded. Quality control appears non-existent, with new bikes arriving at dealers already broken. Service network limitations create nightmares for owners outside major cities. Most independent shops refuse MV Agusta work due to parts availability and specialized knowledge requirements. Simple repairs become expensive expeditions to distant dealers. Parts pricing reflects the bike's exotic positioning with premium costs for every component. Basic maintenance items cost multiples of Japanese equivalents, while major repairs require second mortgages to afford the specialized Italian components. The riding position punishes anyone attempting daily use. Aggressive ergonomics create discomfort that makes commuting torture, while the firm suspension delivers harsh ride quality that becomes unbearable during longer trips. Reliability proves so poor that many owners garage the bike after repeated failures. The Brutal becomes an expensive sculpture rather than a functional motorcycle, delivering stunning visuals but zero transportation capability. Resale values collapse as word spreads about ownership nightmares. Used examples sit unsold despite significant price reductions, as buyers recognize the support and reliability challenges. Italian Exotica becomes worthless when it can't deliver basic transportation reliability. Warning, the next bike is electric and electrifyingly disappointing. At number 6, Zero SR-F, Electric Future, Present Problems. The Zero SR-F promised electric motorcycle revolution with 110 horsepower, 140 pound-feet of torque, and 100-mile city range. Advanced features included smartphone connectivity, over-the-air updates, and regenerative braking that positioned it as the Tesla of motorcycles. Range anxiety becomes reality during ownership. Real-world range falls far short of claimed figures, especially during highway riding or cold weather. Charging infrastructure limitations make the bike impractical for anything beyond short urban trips. Charging times destroy spontaneous riding plans. Even fast charging requires hours, making the bike unsuitable for touring or day trips that define motorcycle enjoyment for most riders. Range limitations create constant anxiety about reaching destinations. Battery degradation concerns plague potential buyers, with replacement costs exceeding $8,000 after warranty expiration. Limited battery life creates uncertain long-term ownership costs that traditional motorcycles don't impose on owners. Service network remains sparse outside major cities, with most shops lacking electric motorcycle expertise. Simple repairs become expensive adventures, requiring specialized Zero technicians who may be hundreds of miles away. Technology promises exceed delivery throughout the ownership experience. Over-the-air updates sometimes break functionality rather than improve it, while smartphone integration proves unreliable and frustrating to use consistently. Resale values have collapsed as early adopters discover electric motorcycles aren't ready for mainstream adoption. Used SRF motorcycles sit unsold while buyers wait for better electric technology to mature. The electric dream fizzled, and now we're heading back to the track, where Aprilia gives you race tech and repair bills. At number 5, Arillia RS660, Racing DNA, Reliability Disaster. The Arillia RS660 promised world superbike technology in a middleweight package, featuring a 659 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine producing 100 horsepower and 78 pound-feet of torque. Advanced electronics included cornering anti-lock braking system, traction control, and multiple riding modes. Electrical gremlins plague the RS660 from day one, with owners reporting dashboard failures, sensor malfunctions, and engine management problems that leave riders stranded. The bike's complex electronics prove fragile and expensive to repair when problems inevitably occur. Parts availability remains poor throughout the country, with basic components taking weeks to arrive from Italy at premium prices. This creates extended downtime that makes the bike unreliable transportation despite its sport bike positioning. Service requirements exceed typical sport bike standards, with complex electronic systems requiring specialized knowledge most shops lack. Labor costs escalate quickly when only certified Aprilia technicians can diagnose problems correctly. The aggressive riding position and firm suspension create uncomfortable street riding experiences. Track-focused setup makes daily commuting unpleasant, limiting the bike's practical applications for most owners who won't track regularly. Heat management fails during traffic or warm weather riding. The engine generates excessive heat that makes summer riding uncomfortable, while urban use becomes torture as the bike radiates heat continuously. Resale values reflect the bike's reputation for problems and impracticality. Used examples sit on markets for months as buyers recognize Aprilia's exotic appeal can't overcome fundamental reliability concerns. Racing heritage means nothing when bikes spend more time broken than running. This was supposed to be the perfect middleweight. Instead, it's a masterclass in overheating, overcharging, and under-delivering. Number 4, Honda CB1000R, Neo Sports Cafe, Neo Problems. The CB1000R promised Honda reliability with superbike performance, featuring a 998 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine producing 145 horsepower and 104 Newton meters of torque. The Neo Sports Cafe styling was supposed to attract younger riders to Honda's brand. Engine heat becomes unbearable during city riding, with the radiator positioned to cook riders' legs during traffic. Poor heat management makes the bike nearly unusable in warm weather or urban environments where most owners actually ride. The aggressive riding position and firm suspension create punishing street riding experiences. Track-focused setup makes daily commuting uncomfortable, limiting practical applications for riders seeking Honda's legendary reliability in daily transportation. Fuel economy disappoints, despite Honda's efficiency reputation, averaging only 38 miles per gallon during mixed riding. The small fuel tank compounds range limitations, requiring frequent stops that undermine touring capability. Wind protection proves inadequate for anything beyond urban use. Highway riding becomes a battle against wind blast that creates fatigue and makes longer trips unpleasant experiences rather than enjoyable adventures. The bike's minimalist design sacrifices functionality for aesthetics. Limited storage options and basic instrumentation make practical daily use more difficult than necessary for a bike targeting everyday riders. Resale values have dropped significantly as riders discover the CB1000R's comfort and practicality limitations. Used examples sit on markets for extended periods without attracting serious buyers who recognize the bike's fundamental compromises. Honda's reputation for reliability can't overcome design flaws that make the bike unpleasant to ride in real-world conditions. That was Honda's neo-futuristic miss. Now meet BMW's retro overcorrection. At number 3, BMW R18. Retro style, modern regrets. The R18 features BMW's largest motorcycle engine ever, a monstrous 1,802 cubic centimeter boxer delivering 91 horsepower and 116 pound-feet of torque. The bike pays tribute to BMW's 1930s heritage with massive proportions and classic styling cues. The R18's 890-pound weight creates constant handling challenges that make ownership stressful. Parking becomes an ordeal, especially on slopes or soft surfaces. The bike's mass makes low-speed maneuvering difficult, and dropping it results in expensive damage. Fuel economy reflects the engine's massive displacement, struggling to achieve 35 miles per gallon even during careful riding. Rising fuel costs make the bike expensive to operate, while the small tank requires frequent stops during touring. The riding position prioritizes style over comfort, creating an awkward stance that becomes uncomfortable during longer rides. The bike's proportions work against ergonomics, making it suitable only for short trips. Modern technology feels tacked onto the retro design rather than integrated thoughtfully. Basic features like traction control and anti-lock braking system seem almost apologetic rather than confidence-inspiring additions to the classic aesthetic. Service costs reflect BMW's premium positioning with expensive parts and specialized labor requirements. Independent shops often lack BMW Boxer engine experience, forcing owners to expensive dealership service departments for routine maintenance. The R18 appeals to a tiny market segment while offering compromised performance at premium prices. It's neither an authentic classic nor a capable modern motorcycle, satisfying nobody completely. Still standing after all that? Good, because the next American cruiser might break more than your wallet. At number 2, Indian Scout 60. Heritage tax, modern problems. The Scout 60 was positioned as an affordable gateway into Indian motorcycle ownership, featuring a 999 cubic centimeter V-twin engine delivering 78 horsepower and 65 pound-feet of torque. The low 25.6-inch seat height promised accessibility for shorter riders seeking American cruiser style. Performance disappoints anyone expecting actual motorcycle capability from the premium-priced machine. The 78 horsepower feels anemic compared to competitors, while highway riding becomes a struggle against both power limitations and poor wind protection that makes touring unpleasant. Build quality issues plague the Scout 60, despite Indian's premium positioning and heritage marketing. Owners report electrical problems, finish quality issues, and premature component wear that make the bike feel cheap compared to Japanese competitors. Parts and service costs shock owners accustomed to reasonable motorcycle ownership expenses. Replacement parts carry premium pricing, while service intervals arrive frequently Additionally, with specialized labor requirements that independent shops often cannot provide. The bike offers nothing beyond basic anti-lock braking system and analog gauge clusters. No ride modes, no traction control, no digital displays that riders expect even at entry level. Chinese and Japanese competitors offer superior technology for thousands less. Resale values have tanked as word spreads about the bike's limitations and high ownership costs. Riders who paid nearly $12,000 now struggle to sell for half that amount, creating devastating financial losses for early buyers. And finally, if you think you've seen bad, wait until you meet the bike that destroyed a whole brand's future. At number 1, Eric Buell, racing 1190 RX, American Dream, Financial Nightmare. The 1190 RX represented America's bold attempt to challenge European superbike dominance, featuring a 1,190 cubic centimeter V-twin engine producing 185 horsepower and 101 pound-feet of torque. Innovative features included perimeter brake rotors, fuel-in-frame design, and advanced mass centralization. Eric Buell Racing's sudden bankruptcy left hundreds of owners stranded with unsupported motorcycles worth nothing overnight. The company collapsed after taking deposits and delivering bikes, creating one of motorcycling's biggest scandals that destroyed buyer confidence completely. Parts availability vanished immediately after the bankruptcy, turning routine maintenance into impossible adventures. Simple repairs now require custom fabrication or expensive used parts scavenging that costs more than the bikes are worth. Resale values collapsed to essentially zero as buyers recognized the support nightmare and parts shortage problems. Owners cannot sell bikes that cannot be maintained, creating complete financial losses for anyone who trusted the American motorcycle dream. The 1190 RX's innovative features became expensive liabilities without factory support. Exotic engineering requires specialized knowledge and replacement parts that no longer exist anywhere in the supply chain. Legal battles continue years later as buyers attempt to recover losses from the company's collapse. Class action lawsuits provide little hope for financial recovery, while bikes sit as expensive garage decorations. Eric Buell Racing's bankruptcy proved that innovation without financial sustainability creates worthless motorcycles. The 1190 RX represents the ultimate cautionary tale about buying motorcycles from unstable manufacturers. These 15 motorcycles proved that attractive showroom appearances and impressive specifications can't guarantee satisfying ownership experiences. Buyer's remorse hits hard when reality destroys initial excitement. Like this video if we saved you from expensive regrets, subscribe for more honest buying advice, and tell us in the comments which disappointing purchase you escaped.